Welcome to the Nanaimo Now channel. This is a little bit different video that I've been doing in the past. There's been Nanaimo tourism videos, there's been Canadian political. This one hits a little bit of a different nail. It's discrimination against the Chinese people by Canada over a number of years, up until even today. So this is a second part. The first part is on the Gweilo 60 channel. So if you want to see the first part, go to the link below in the description. Check it out. Like, comment, and subscribe on that channel also. And we're picking up where we left off on that one. So maybe you want to go back there, watch the first part, and then come to this one. But you think, okay, well, that's back then. After that, you see, a lot of these Chinese were moving to Canada and they didn't speak English. There was no English language requirement by law. And that changed. That changed drastically over the last number of years. Was it designed to stop English-speaking Indians from coming to Canada? No. Was it targeting people from Europe from coming to Canada? No, no. Was it stopping Americans from coming to Canada? No. The major immigration numbers that didn't speak English were Chinese immigrants. So it was just another means to sort of regulate the Chinese immigration into Canada. And you're thinking, oh, well, that was back then. This is, you see, it goes on and on. You see, the Chinese have been going through this for 150 years. They may package it differently. The racial discrimination, the prejudice against the Chinese people may be packaged differently, maybe not as blatantly out there in your face, but it's still discrimination. Let's fast forward to today, to right now today. And Vancouver, Nanaimo, Victoria, and foreign buyer tax. Who do you think these foreign buyer taxes are targeting? Are they targeting people from the States, India, Australia, wherever? No, they're targeting rich Chinese people coming over buying homes in Canada. A lot of them are places for their children to live while they go to university in Canada. And Canada reaps billions, like literally billions of dollars of Chinese students coming to Canada into the universities to learn. They get charged way more for tuition. I think it's $20,000 for tuition per year, way more than your Canadian student would pay. So you can see the Chinese have been dealing with racism, have been dealing with prejudice for 150 years here in Canada. You know, from being paid less for the same job, not getting the benefits as the white workers would have got back 150 years, 140 years ago, from head taxes that nobody else had to pay. Nobody from anywhere around the world had to pay, to exclusion acts where they were excluded from immigration to Canada because of their place of origin up to 1967. Then they're excluded on immigration applications because of their lack of English skills. Then they're excluded from buying properties for their children or themselves in Canada at the same price as a Canadian person because their place of origin. It's not just discrimination against China as a whole. We love the Chinese people. We just don't like the Chinese government. But actions speak louder than words. And over the last 140, 150 years in Canada, we've seen discrimination against the Chinese people. Over and over and over again, just packaged differently. This happened in the United States too, and I'm not really good on the United States, so I wrote it down here. Here's some of the acts that they had in the United States dealing specifically with the Chinese people. get this one, the Anti-Coolie Act of 1862. The Anti-Coolie Act. How's that for saying it how it is in the minds of the American people? You know, I'm not going to get into what these acts are. You can go check them out yourself on your own internet. The Page Act of 1875. The Page Act, well, was the first restrictive federal immigration law in the United States, which effectively prohibited the entry of Chinese women, marking the end of the open border. 7 years later, in 1882, Chinese Exclusion Act banned immigration by all Chinese men as well. So the Page Act of 1875 banned all Chinese women from coming in. And then they had the Exclusion Act later that excluded males too. So Canada or the United States, it really didn't make much difference. You know, if you're Chinese, you're just not welcome in our country. We'll give you the privilege of coming over and working and building our railroads. We'll even give you the privilege of paying head taxes so you can come over and live in our country. Nobody else has to, but you do. It's the least we can do, you know, because we love Chinese people, but we just don't like the Chinese government. Oh yes, let's move on here to 1882, the Chinese Exclusion Act. We just talked about that. Yes, Exclusion Act. Let's go on to the next one. And I thought this one was quite interesting. Quite interesting. The Pigtail Ordinance was an 1873 law intended to force prisoners in San Francisco, California to have their hair cut within an inch of the scalp. It affected Qing Chinese prisoners in particular, as it meant they would have their queue, a waist-long braid pigtail, cut off. I guess that's probably why they called it the Pigtail Act. You know what I mean? In 1873, but it was vetoed by the mayor. An identical version of the law was enacted by the California state legislation in 1876. You know, so it just goes to show that you know, these laws were designed specifically to discriminate against Chinese people. In 1880, in 1885, in 1900, in 1923, in 1967, 2007, and today in 2022. And probably tomorrow. You see all the anti-China rhetoric on the news. You see it on social media. You see it everywhere. So when you say you're not discriminating against the Chinese people, when you say you like the Chinese people, think of what your country and what your politicians, what people have done to the Chinese people over the last 150 years, and take note of it. And let's not forget the crime against Asian people, against Chinese people in places like Vancouver, British Columbia, just across. It's only like 25 kilometers from where I sit today. Hate crime in 2021 was up over 700% against Asians. It's the hate capital of North America. Vancouver, the beautiful city of Vancouver, Canada, is the hate capital of North America against Asians. And when I say Asians, they're targeting the Chinese people in these hate crimes. Violence against Chinese. And that, my friends, is another video from the Nanaimo Now channel. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button. Don't forget to resubscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell. And make a comment. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace out. Bye now.